Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, I will introduce myself. My name is Aisyah with NEM 2106021110061 from the Department of Biology, Faculty of Science and Technology, State Islamic University of Malang. Here I will answer the question given by the lecturer in the history of Islamic civilization. I will read the question first, then continue with the answer. Number 1. Explain how the main foundation that the Prophet laid down in building Islamic civilization is explained in detail each point and how is it relevant to our life today. The answer is the main foundation attached to the Prophet in the progress of Islamic civilization is Aqidah and morals. The meaning of Aqidah is derived from the word aqada yaqidu aqdatan, which means is the rope, the bind something to another, so that it becomes an inseparable unit, if it can still be separate. It means that there is no binding, and at the same time, it means that there is no faith. In the well-known discussion, Aqidah is defined as faith, belief or belief. The function of Aqidah in Islam is accordance with it. This function is the basis of religion. The existence of Islamic faith is very decisive for a Muslim, because in this religious theological system, it is believed that attitude, action, and change that occur in a person's behavior and activities are strongly influenced by the theological system or aqidah that adheres to. The word morals comes from the Arabic language, namely al-khulq, which means tabiat, temperament, behavior, habit, behavior. According to the term, morality is a trait that is embedded in a human being who can issue something with pleasure and is without any thought and question. Morals aim to make humans as higher and perfect beings and distinguish them from other creatures, become something that human must have in order to be better in relationship. Next, number 2. Explain what change the Prophet made in building the city of Medina. How is it relevant to our life today? The answer is there are 3 basic things that the Prophet did in the Medina place. The 3 basic things greatly affect the lives of the people of Medina so that they live in safety, peace, mutual respect, and prosperity. First, make the mosque the center of all activities. After arriving in Medina, the Prophet built a mosque, the Prophet Mosque Nabawi. This mosque is a very simple building. The roof is from palm leaves, the pillars are from the palm trunks, the floor is gravel and sandy, and the building is made of bricks. However, the building is not just an ordinary building, a building that is a site of the rise of Islamic civilization, because the Prophet enabled this mosque for all activities, starting from teaching Islamic teachings, wisdom, and process of teaching and learning, to read and write, to formulating war or political strategies. All were held in the Prophet Mosque, not just for prayer. In short, the Prophet used the mosque as a meeting place and guidance for the people. Second, building brotherhood among fellow Muslims is Ukhuwah Islamiyah in the Medina place. There were 2 groups of Muslims, namely the Muhajirin is Mecca Muslim who migrate to Medina, and the answer is claimed people who were originally residents of Medina. The Prophet brought them one by one Muhajirin with one Ansar. It is brothers, none other than. This was done by the Prophet to strengthen solidarity and social cohesiveness among fellow Muslims, so that they are not easy to fight, as the character of Arab Jahiliyah. For a Muslim, brotherhood is not only based on blood, but also on the same faith. Third, build brotherhood with people of other religions is ukhuwah insaniyah. The Prophet was well aware that Medina had a pluralistic society. There are Muslims, there are Christians, there are Jews, and others. To build a strong and peaceful city, there was no way for the Prophet except to unite the diverse peoples. Finally, the Messenger of Allah sparked a mutual agreement. The Medina Charter is Constitution of Medina. With the Medina Charter, the Prophet succeeded in uniting the Medina community, which had been impossible to unite. The Medina Charter became the first constitution in building a diverse society based on the values of equality and mutual justice. These three basic foundations were carried out by the Prophet during the Medina phase, so that Medina became a civilized and recognized city in the Arabian Peninsula at the time. The impact of the change brought by the Prophet is the spread of Islam until now. Islam is known as a tolerant religion throughout the Medina Charter compiled by the Apostle. Islam has become an active religion in an effort to spread its teaching. Many scholars broadcast religion because they imitated the spirit of the Prophet who migrated to Medina with difficulty. Next, number 3. What is the Medina Charter? Explain the most important contents of the Medina Charter. What was behind the emergence of the Medina Charter, and how relevant the Medina Charter is in the context of human life today? The answer is the Medina Charter is a document compiled by the Prophet Muhammad SAW, which is a formal agreement between himself and all the tribes on important people in Yathrib, later called Medina, in 622 AD, between the Banu Awas and Banu Khazraj in Medina. For this reason, the document stipulates a number of rights and obligations for Muslim, Jews, and other communities in Medina, thus making them into a unified community, which in Arabic is called the Ummah. The contents of the Medina Charter, among others, stipulate an existence of freedom of religion, freedom of expression regarding the safety and property, and the prohibition of people from committing crimes. The background of the Medina Charter was started because of the conflict between the people of Medina. The Medina Charter was written in 622 AD in the city of Medina. This charter is also claimed to be the first written constitution in the world. At present, the Medina Charter is an open and democratic regulation because all groups of people have mutually agreed rules in order to create harmonious life between religious believers and society. This is what is applied in Indonesia as basic principle or basic reference as the basic of the state. Where our country is a democratic country that has different races, ethnicities, religion, and cultures. According to the idealist view, a Medina Charter state is one of the basic examples of the perfect state in a democratic country in Indonesia. Next, number 4. Tell us some evidence about the Islamic civilization prosperity and why did it collapse then? What are the factors that led to the collapse of Islamic civilization? What should Muslims do at this time so that Islamic civilization can rise again? The answer is evidence of Islamic civilization in its heyday is the expansion of Islamic territory and the establishment of buildings as centers of Islamic da'wah during the Umayyad period. The progress of Islamic during the Umayyad period include the fields of politics, religion, economics, building science or architecture, social and military field. The civilization of the Islamic dynasty was once a respected and advanced civilization, but in the end it had to be destroyed, and the last caliphate was destroyed in 1923, namely the Ottoman Turks. There were several factors that led to the destruction of the Islamic dynasty, and this could be due to external and internal factors. Several external factors that played a role in the fall of Islamic civilization include 1. The Crusades, which took place from 1096 to 1270. 2. The Mongol invasion of the 100 to 1020 until 1300 s. 3. Crusades, for the loss of international Islamic trade, and 5. The emergence of Western powers. Several internal factors that play a role in the fall of Islamic civilization include 1. Soil conditions are quite difficult to cultivate. 2. Natural disaster. 3. Vulnerable geographical location. 4. Domestic turmoil. 5. Broken unions and mutual fanatic. By returning to the Al-Quran and Hadith, returning Allah's laws, the Sunnah of the Prophet, and returning to unity, most Muslims, they have started to live the Al-Quran and Hadith, do not read and practice it, so the heyday of Islam is moved. Muslims are also divided. We should unite to reclaim our glory days Muslim. In addition, several efforts can be made to restore the heyday of Islam, namely 1. Increasing unity and unity of the Ummah. 2. The movement for renewal and faith and tajdid. 3. Establish Islamic schools. 4. Modernization of science. 5. Improving economic cooperation. Next, number 5. So lesson can you take from the history of Islamic civilization? The attitude should we take to overcome any difference of opinion in the history of Islamic civilization? The answer is the lesson we can take from the history of Islamic civilization are number one, in the course of Muslim history, not everything is good and not everything is bad. So we must be able to take a lesson from the history of the Muslims, both from good history and bad history. Next, number three, even the history of the Muslim community, there are many bad elements. It does not mean that Islam is bad, but there is the Muslims who perhaps misunderstand Islam. The attitude we must take in dealing with difference of opinion in the story of Islamic civilization is to assume that Islam is the most rational religion. The concept of divinity is values, it allows and so on. As assuming that natural values do not conflict with modernity and progress, such as science and technology, assuming that it is human understanding of Islam that causes Islam to look bad, behave in accordance with Islamic teachings, do not misunderstand Islam. Therefore, we must understand Islam to its core, recognize Islam as a universal religion. Consider which one we should follow. Considers the choice of one particular interpretation and understanding of Islam. There is no need to blame and other understandings, so that the unity and integrity of the pupil of Islam is maintained. Syukron, thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.